Welcome to I'm Too Busy, an interview-based show hosted by a talented makeup artist, Christina Flach. Christina offers viewers a unique blend of personal stories, inspiring journeys, and practical beauty tips. Join the conversation as Christina features successful individuals from various industries who share their insights on health, wellness, makeup, and the keys to their success. So now, please welcome the host of I'm Too Busy, Christina Flach.
Hi, I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy. Are you too busy to really know yourself? In today's fast-paced world, it's so easy to lose sight of who we are and what we value. Join me today, and we are going to be chatting with Sloan Reid. She's an internationally recognized Enneagram coach and self-awareness expert. Sloan will share her insights on how to build a stronger relationship with yourself, even when life feels overwhelming. Sloan is a certified Enneagram coach and entrepreneur and practitioner recognized by both the International Coaching Federation and the International Enneagram Association. With a degree in political science and business from Texas A&M and certifications in various leadership disciplines from Cornell University, Sloan brings a wealth of knowledge to her practice. Her mission is to guide clients on a journey of self-discovery, helping them clarify their purpose, adapt healthier practices, and uncover their true identity through enhanced self-worth and understanding of their value. Welcome, Sloan.
Thank you. Thank you. So excited to be here.
Well, I'm so excited to have you. How are you today?
Wonderful. I cannot believe it's already October, but here we are.
Isn't that crazy? So you're in Tennessee. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm filming with Bloomberg all week. So I'm at my friend Trey and Lisa's house. And so I'm not in my normal background. Yes.
I was just in LA this past weekend. I'm so sad.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What were you doing?
I'm just visiting. I'm connected with the Be Great network out there and connecting with some friends and just enjoying the beautiful weather that we are having now in Tennessee, but we were definitely missing there for a hot minute.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've got so many questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. What inspired you to focus on helping people build better relationships with themselves?
By losing myself. I was in my early 20s and probably like 23 always sounds right. That's the age I usually reference. I pick on 23-year-old version of me quite a bit. I need to be nicer to her because I'm very thankful for who she was and the choices that she made that brought me here, but hot mess express to say the least. And
How so?
I was looking for validation and self-worth in all the wrong places. It was definitely, I was seeking an external solution to a very internal problem, and I needed to really find myself. And I started down that journey. I realized after I was a model, I modeled throughout college, and so it's very easy to get caught up in the external world and seeking that external validation. And thank goodness there wasn't anything like Instagram or anything around when I was in college and influencers and all of that, because I cannot imagine how that would have impacted my own mental health and self-worth and how I saw myself. Especially that young and vulnerable. But I think it really, at that time, I had kind of given up everything, including my plan that I had lived by my whole life, and decided to completely change paces and find myself.
What was your plan?
I remember as a child, I always wanted to be a lawyer. Hence the political science degree that I'm using so well right now in my life. But I had this, the whole check the boxes of who I was supposed to be and how I was supposed to show up in the world. And I competed, I remember at Miss Texas USA. So USA girl growing up, and I competed at Miss Texas USA, and it was horrendous. Like, when I say train wreck, it was hard to look away. And I had just gotten in my head about what I thought a Miss Texas USA needed to be. And so I ended up losing way too much weight. I was way too skinny. I had no energy, no personality, no mission, no purpose, because it was all about getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I didn't make the top 15, which was soul crushing to me. And a judge came up to me after that experience, after the pageant, and looked at me and said, I just want to let you know, like, we don't recognize you. We saw you 3 months ago. We were taking you all the way to USA. We were ready to win Miss USA with you, and we don't recognize you. We couldn't even put you in the top 15 because we didn't recognize you. Like, please get,
Wow.
like, save your, and it like saved my life. It really did. And so that was the eye opener I needed to be like, okay, like, why am I letting all these insecurities and external opinions drive my life choices and end up really hurting myself and missing opportunities that I so eagerly wanted and fought for. And so that really started my healing journey of really getting to know myself, like myself, trust myself, and form that authentic confidence. I was really good at faking it till you make it, which that statement like makes me cringe now. But I was
Right.
really good at that. And you can almost get lost in that mask of the fake it till you make it. And I was like, what if I took that mask off and really found out who I was underneath it all and started showing up as her? And still very much a work of progress over a decade later. But I'm really proud of the progress I have made. And so that really drove me to inspiring others to do the same. I found tools and
So what did you do
resources.
first? Like, what were the first steps you took to making these changes in your life?
Really starting to look in the mirror in a hard place, starting to show up and starting to really challenge myself in the way that I showed up. I tried various of things. Of course, I started my health and fitness journey and rebuilding my relationship with my physical body, of what that meant, rebuilding my relationship with food, embracing my strength, opposed to just how skinny I can get, and really working on my health and wellness and really honoring the impact that made on my mental health and my emotional health. And then that gave me the foundation I needed to really start like the shadow work. And so it wasn't until a few years later that I discovered one of my favorite tools that I'm still very passionate about and that I use with a lot of my clients today, which is the Enneagram. It's a tool that like it's similar to those of personality assessments, but opposed like, and I love those, like Myers-Briggs and DISC are all wonderful tools that I celebrate and still utilize definitely. But why I'm so drawn to the Enneagram is it focuses on the root cause behind the behavior opposed to the behavior itself. So it really allowed me to do the core work of who I was and get into the nitty gritty and start that healing journey.
So what were you, because I took the test today.
Oh, okay. I love it.
And so I'm a helper. So I don't even know if you
Okay.
want to, like, what does that mean? What were you when you tested yourself the first time?
Yeah, so I'm really like, I love that you bring up the test because there's so many amazing resources out there. I'm a big fan, especially if it's like tapping your toe in the water and piquing your interest. I just always encourage people, if you're going to do it, make sure it's an accredited test because there's so many layers to this tool. The Enneagram is Ennea means 9 and gram means diagram. So if you look at the Enneagram symbol, it's this circle with like a lotus flower of lines in the middle of it. And that circle and those lines have significant meaning. It helps you find out what your wings are, where you go under stress, where your growth line is, your triad, your instincts. I mean, there's so many layers. So it's really, really important that you're taking an accredited a test that can like factor all that in. Meaning I see a lot
Right.
of those free tests online. So many of my clients come to me and they took a free test online and they tested one way, but they were actually taking that test under tremendous stress. And so they actually scored at their lower end. So like I had a client recently who scored as a 1 and he is a 7 through and through. But he was extremely stressed at work. He's working like close to 60 hours a week. He's stressed out on overtime, strapped out, like everything in his world is like high intensity. So of course he's testing as a 1 on a non-accredited test because it's not taking those factors in. Other
Right.
influences are your instincts. Those are really amazing, that help influence your type a lot. I always call these ingredients to your personalized recipe. I always joke when people are like, oh my gosh, you're putting me in a box. And I'm like, far from it. I'm just telling you the recipe, the ingredients in your box that already exist.
Yeah.
And so all of those factors take place. So I'm always really cautious in telling people, like, make sure you're taking an accredited test. And this is a really intimate process. Like the Enneagram tells you, like, people have described it as, oh my God, you're looking into my soul. And while I'm not, I promise, I'm just looking at your profile. It is very personal and very intimate. And I know for me, it highlighted some areas I wasn't ready to see, but needed to see. And so what I mean by that is the Enneagram is broken up into 9 types. And of those 9 types, there's 3 triads. And so we have our gut triad, our heart triad, and our head triad. And your core type falls in one of those triads. So for our gut triad, they're our action center. They have a true gut instinct of things. They have a natural desire to kind of push back at life a little bit. They have a resistance to life, and they share a root irritant of anger, which does not mean that the other two triads don't get angry. They definitely do. It's just not the main irritant they're trying to manage. But they're very well aware of the impact they have in the world. Versus where I fall and you fall if you're the helper, which is the 2, is in the heart triad. We lead with our heart, we lead with our emotions, we connect first from the heart space. We are very, very aware of how we're being seen and our reputation, and therefore there's that root irritant of shame or justifying our worth, which is the main irritant that we're trying to manage through our triggers, our desires, our motivations. And then last but certainly not least is our head triad. They very logical. Their brains are a beautiful place, usually as like for different ways, but a browser with a bunch of windows flashing in front of it. And then they share the irritant of fear and how to manage that. And their fear is defined very differently, but that is what usually drives them in this beautiful world and is what the irritant that they are trying to manage.
So when your clients come to you, typically is it the numbers all over the board or the different things, or do you see something consistently? And if you're dealing with high level executives or CEOs, do you see something that's very similar, or is it a surprise? Are you ever shocked when you see the numbers that someone gets?
Sometimes I usually, so again, this isn't a behavior assessment. It's really the core, the heart, the core behind it, the root cause behind the behavior. So, and I'm always judging it from a bias of my own perception of my limited window. So I try really hard not to type people based on behavior. But I can usually pick up like their tri-type and some different, like I said, a couple of the ingredients in their recipe or their profile. I do see some trends with my clients, especially like I have clients, I have beauty queens, I have entrepreneurs, I have executives, I have whole teams. And so I've been very fortunate that I've worked with boards. So I've been very fortunate that my clientele is fully across the board, which is really keeps it fun and really like innovative for me and exciting for me because I never know which profile I'm going to get. But I do see some common trends in my entrepreneurs and my executives. They usually have
Such as what?
They usually have some 8 in their profile, like that really like foot on the gas, let's go, like drive. I see a lot of 7s in the profile, amazing visionaries. They see things before people can see them. They think very fast. A lot of 3s, which are the high achievers. Of course, a lot of 2s, because usually if you are willing to do what we do in the entrepreneur world, then you do have a desire and a purpose to help others do the same. And so I do see a lot of those. But then I have those that surprise me, where I saw a 9 recently. And 9s always crack me up because they're always the ones that's like, oh, I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. But they're the most phenomenal leaders that always find themselves in leadership. And they're like, how did I get here? Like, I don't even want to be here. How am I here? Those are usually my favorites. So I think every type can be a phenomenal entrepreneur and a phenomenal executive. It's just about making sure that you're leaning into your type opposed trying to fill how someone else does it.
So, for example, let's just pretend I'm your client. I'm a 2.
Okay.
So, where do we go from there now that we know that I'm a 2? What would
Yeah.
I do different, or what should I be working on?
So 2s are very self-sacrificing. And so I would always do the check-in. Are we first aware of our own needs? Are we taking care of self first? One of the and I already see you cringing because it's like, no, I don't want to. I'm taking care of everybody else. I don't have time for me, which is so
Yeah,
true.
I'm like, I'm fine. I can take care of
Yeah,
everybody.
don't worry about it. Like, and
That's so true. I'm telling you, I
yeah.
took this test. It was 180 questions. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously I was trying to do it quickly because today we're having our call, our
Yeah.
meeting. And so I just wanted to at least experience what it was. I thought the questions, it was, you had to think about it a little bit about yourself
Mm-hmm.
and really like be honest
Yeah.
because,
And
you're cheating yourself if you don't do it honestly, I guess.
And I think that's such a good advice to give, especially when working with and that's why I love working with my clients is I'm not here to judge you, I'm here to guide you. And I think if you're skewing the results, which again, an accredited test usually see through, I get this amazing report with my clients and it's like, red flags. Like I always call it the red flags page. It's like, they were kind of trying to manipulate the results and my test always sees through it. It's really funny. They're like, they
Oh,
tried,
that's so funny. How many questions are on your test?
Oh my goodness, I haven't taken it in forever, but quite a few. I want to say, I don't want to lie to you, but it usually takes anywhere from like 20, on average, it's about 20 to 40 minutes. I do have those certain types that take an hour and a half, and I'm like, what are you doing? But those were like, that's definitely not my personality. But
What personality type is someone that takes that long? Someone that's really not
uh,
confident about their opinions. And they're trying to think what you want them to hear.
Yes, that's one factor. Another factor could be they're distracted easily and they're walking away or they're getting distracted. Another type could be they're trying to answer the right way. And so some of the questions to test that answer the same question multiple ways. And so they're like overanalyzing, well, what did I answer previously? And like overthinking it. So like my sixes tend to do that. My sevens get distracted easily. It's all my threes usually are like, how can I get through this as efficiently and as fast as possible? So all of them just have, if you walk in with resistance, there's a list of what each type will be resistant, but most of my clients that come to me, I've set them up for success. I'd be like, listen, like I'm never going to see the answers to your questions. I just see the results. So you're safe and are honest. Honestly, I'm not going to go through each question and be like, why did you answer it this way? You're weird. Like, no, that never happens. So I never see them. So it's a really safe place, but it's just a great, and again, it's the recipe. So what I love about the tool I use is it doesn't tell me just your type. It tells me your wings. It tells me your instinct. And I think instincts is one of the most underutilized elements of the Enneagram because so many times, like if you're a 2, you could meet other 2s and be like, I'm not like them. I can't believe I'm in the same box as them. And it's usually, I'm just like, yeah, let's look at your instincts. Like, let's look at some other factors in there and I'll show you the differences. And it really allows me to customize a plan for my clients that helps them navigate their goals, navigate their development in a really intentional way, which is the purpose of the Enneagram. That diagram is a roadmap to your personal development journey. And so it's just about creating a custom treasure map, if you will. Sorry, I've been shopping pirate costumes all day, so sorry for the pun. My son picked our costumes.
We're going to be right. We have to take a commercial break.
Yeah,
and we are going to finish. We are going to be chatting more with Sloan, and we will be back in 2 minutes. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy.
Mike Zorek, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hi, I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy. Are you? We are chatting today with Sloan Reid. Okay, my friend, this is so fascinating. I just have a zillion questions. In your experience, what's the biggest obstacle people face when they're trying to understand their true selves?
Oh, I think we all have a blind spot. And I think once there's a resistance to seeing it's a blind spot for a reason. And when the veil's ripped off, it's almost that process of being able to see clearly and then have a clear strategy to move past it. So for me, and using the Enneagram, one thing that was really eye-opening for me is the irritant of shame and justifying my worth. There was so many situations that I would leave and I'd like preach my resume at people because I was feeling insecure. But like, well, I've done this and I've done this and I've done this. Because how a 3 justifies their worth is by doing and achieving. And so I'd be like, look at everything I've done. I'm worthy. Love me. And like, I'm worthy. I have no shame. And I would walk away and be like, that was so embarrassing. Why did I just like scream my resume out? And then when it was brought to my attention through the Enneagram, it's like, oh, you were trying to justify your worth. You were feeling insecure. It's that, oh, now that I'm aware of that trigger though, how do I heal it? And that is when it's like, okay, it's one thing. I think what's hard in personal development is sometimes we become aware of our blind spots or the areas of growth, but then we feel overwhelmed or burdened by them because we don't know how to navigate through them. And that's what I think is always encourage people. Just the awareness is great, but it's about honoring yourself with grace and self-love through the growth process, which is the next and honestly the most important phase. Awareness is just the first step. And so for me, it's been a long journey of humility, and it's been a long journey of taking off masks that I've so beautifully made and created, and realized that I've created these masks to connect with people, and they're actually pushing people away because people see that it's not my authentic self. Challenging myself to be vulnerable in those ways and say, hey, this is who I am underneath it all. Definitely a full work in progress, even a decade later of being on this journey and hope to continue to be. So yeah, I think in my opinion, it's stopping at the awareness and allowing that to define you, especially with tools like this. I mean, how often do we hear like, oh, you know me, I'm just a 3, or oh my gosh, I'm an Aries, so that's just my personality, opposed to
Right.
actually using this as a tool for growth.
Are people shocked with the results of the test
Sometimes. Yeah,
or
sometimes
not
I'm
really? Or
shocked.
mostly do they go, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
because
think I
when I
think that
did mine, I was like, oh, yeah, that's totally me.
I
I'm
think
always
people
thinking of
are
everybody
shocked.
else.
Yeah, I think because the Enneagram is such a popular tool and has become so trendy lately, that people have their stereotypes around certain types. And so when they get their results, they're like shocked because they're buying into the stereotype and the trends based on behavior, opposed to the true heart of the types. And so when they sit down with me and I walk them through that it's not just because you're this number doesn't mean that you like long walks on the beach and pina coladas. It's actually much deeper than that. And when I'm really able to say them the heart and the gifts and the blessings that each type has to offer, and how they can show up in the world as their authentic self to genuinely connect and make the impact they want to make. Most people are like, wow, that is my heart, that is my soul, that is what I'm called to do, and thank you for giving me a map to do it. So I've never had a client be disappointed in their result, not yet, knock on wood. Oh my goodness, that would be hard. But I think it's that timing and that safe space to say, hey, I'm holding up the mirror so you can see you for the first time.
So, how dead are you on when you meet someone? We all do this. Do you guess or do you imagine what they are like when you meet people?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I've been doing this a
I mean,
really
you're
long
not
time.
going to tell them, obviously, but you're
Never.
not going to
No,
go,
no,
oh, by
no.
the way, you're a 7.
Yeah, no, 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 no. I would never do that. But
No,
I
but
do
in
have
your mind, you kind of do that once in a while.
especially with tri-types. So with the difference between your core type does not change. It's the heart. It's where your core motivations, your core desires, your core fears, your core trigger, all of those. Your core type is where I always recommend people to start on their Enneagram personal development journey. But like I mentioned, those triads, if you and I, for example, we're in the heart triad, the feeling triad, but that we definitely act and we definitely think. And so you actually have a tri-type, which is your behavior profile. So not the deep core desires. It's more surface behavior styles, your expressions, if you will,
Right.
in each of those areas. And I'm really great at guessing expressions. So I may not be great at like, oh, I'm pretty spot on guessing your core type. I try to avoid that because it's so personal. And I just keep it light with like your expressions of like, okay, you probably process this way, you act this way, and you feel this way is usually a safe place for me to play at parties before I get in the office in my safe space of like, okay, let's get to the nitty gritty and the deep stuff.
Are there certain numbers that are more attracted to each other?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think, let me stress that I think every type I'm a big advocate that like every type is compatible if both types are willing to honor each other's styles, honor each other's needs and approaches, and are willing to like navigate that together. I'm a firm believer. I work with a lot of couples, and as long as both parties are showing up willing and to grow themselves as well as to honor their partner, every pair can be successful, whether it's my business partners or my romantic partners. With as far as attraction goes, oh yeah, sometimes it's opposites. Sometimes like a 2 really, really admires the strength of an 8 and how they show up and advocate and like are just fearless. And then, or sometimes it's the 3 really loves the freedom of a 7, and or sometimes the 9. It's usually your growth line that you're attracted to. So for me as a 3, I really like the humility of a 6, and like a 6 really likes the wholeness of a 9. Like I definitely
That's
find trends.
fascinating.
I find trends for sure, but I think what's really beautiful about this tool is it's not about like, oh, you're most compatible with this type, find this type, or do business with this type. It's more about like, oh, I see your perspective, and how can we share our perspectives to get a full picture view?
So, how can someone who feels too busy start incorporating self-awareness practices into their daily life?
Well, I feel like people who are quote unquote too busy seek efficiency so they can do more. What's that saying? I'm sure you've said it 100 times. Like, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy
Done,
person.
give to a busy person.
Yeah, and I think because they understand how to get things done and that efficiency, understanding that knowing yourself and how you approach life and how you're going to get triggered and how to navigate those things will help you be more efficient and more productive, helps you prioritize your personal development. And there's so many tools out there. It's about finding the right tool for you. But I have found like when I am not doing my daily routine, when I am not investing in my mental health, when I'm not investing in my emotional health, when I'm not taking care of me and pushing myself and growing me, I'm limited in all the other areas of my life. When I prioritize taking care of me, when I prioritize getting to know me more and more and pushing me to the next level, the tide rises all ships, right? Everything in my life elevates. When I'm being like a little bit lazy in that area, or like, oh, I don't need to read, or I don't need to push myself, I'm going to skip therapy, I'm going to skip my coaching call, like whatever, I notice that is a ripple effect in my other areas. How you do one thing is how you do all things. And I think people who are busy recognize that and recognize, okay, in order to be, this is a tool for me to be more efficient, of course I'm going to prioritize it.
So, can you share a success story of a client who experienced a significant transformation through your coaching? I mean, obviously, you don't need to say names, but is there one that sticks out?
So many. There's so many. I'm trying to think of a more recent one. I've been working with, there's a 9 recently. She's phenomenal. And she's one of those that's like, how did I end up in leadership? One of those, right? And she's like, how did I get here? And we found out that she was really, as a 9, their core desire. So each type has like a core motivation, core desire. And so for the 9, it's to keep the peace. And they will self-sacrifice, similar to the 2, in order, but different motivations. So the 2 self-sacrifices to be your ideal someone and to take care of your needs. The 9 self-sacrifices to keep calm waters. And so she was very, very much avoiding the whole teach them how to fish, because it was easier to give them fish because it kept the peace, but then therefore, and also just sacrifice her own voice, suppressing her own voice in order again to keep the peace. And in her mind, she was keeping the peace externally by sacrificing her internal peace. And what we really worked on is, you're fooling yourself yourself if you think sacrificing your internal peace is causing any peace in the external world, because everyone feels your energy, and it's causing more tension. It's just a passive tension that is almost worse than direct tension, because at least people can show up and address it in a more productive and polished manner. And so we really worked on her using her voice in an intentional, still loving and compassionate way, but at not the expense of her own internal peace. And it completely transformed not only her workload, because she stopped doing everyone else's work and started teaching them how to fish, and then made her plate a little bit more productive, and she was able to thrive in her career because she wasn't trying to do her job plus the 3 layers below her. And I'm also, speaking of a 2, I had a client who thought she was a 3, because she was extremely ambitious and very much a goal achiever. So she's trying to navigate the world as a 3, but when she came to me and we did her test, she was actually a social 2, which theme is ambition. So it's often that those get mistyped. And when we were able to so she was trying to approach this with just achieve more efficiency, humility, like approach her business as a 3. And I'm like, you need to approach this as a 2, which is all about consideration and love and helpfulness and just heart that you're not bringing to the table. And when she started to do that, she transformed. She was actually, they were about to close one of their departments, and she completely transformed her digital presence and was able to empower a whole team on their course development. And that department alone made 6 figures in 6 months.
That's amazing. Have you ever experienced anyone that was unwilling to embrace this practice? And if so, why? And how, what was your reaction to that?
I had one individual, and I'm going to be very cautious on how I navigate this, because I want to be respectful. They had a type that they really wanted to be, and they really, they really wanted to be a 1, and it's because 1s have tremendous moral fiber. They always do the right thing. They really wanted to be a 1-wing 2 or a 2-wing 1, right? Because the 2s are so helpful and considerate and can be servant leaders. And then you pair that with the due diligence and the high moral fiber of the 1. And this individual had they grew up very religious and very moral and of high character and integrity. And so they really, really wanted to be one of those 2. And they were actually typed as a 6, and they had read some stereotype of the 6. And so they were very, very resistant to it. And again, it took a lot of deprogramming and awareness to be like, hey, this is actually your superpower through the 6, and the humility of the 6 and the strength of the 6 is so powerful, but you're limiting yourself by trying to be something you're not. And when this individual was able to release what they thought they should be and honor who they were, it was completely transformative. They ended up leaving their job and starting their own business, and now they have a thriving, I'm again trying not to give too many details, but it's a creative studio, and they're thriving and in the best season of their life.
Oh my God, I love this. We will be right back with Sloan Reid. And I'm Too Busy. I'm Christina Flach. I'll see you in 2 minutes.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth, and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, Published by iUniverse, Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Hello, welcome back to I'm Too Busy. We are chatting today with Sloan Reid. Sloan, what role does self-awareness play in effective leadership, do you think?
I think it's one of the most important roles is how we show up for ourselves and for other people. I think we set the tone. I think it's ironic how so much of how we show up for ourselves or show up and think is sometimes more impactful than how what we say or what we do for others. I think I'm thinking specifically in even like parenting, like how I'm teaching. I have an 8-year-old little boy, and I'm teaching him more than I realize in the small moments. And I'm becoming a better person. He is a huge, obviously for myself, but he is a huge motivation for that because he mirrors me, and I'm very much influencing. And I think as a leader, you set the tone for your entire team. You set the tone for your clients that you're serving, and you set the tone for your mission. And having the self-awareness of how you show up in those spaces are absolutely vital in order to make the intentional impact that you want to make, opposed to the accidental impact, the byproduct.
After working with you for a period of time, do people's numbers change, or do they go from a 2 to a 4? Or?
No, so your core type always remains the same. So you're always your core type. There are levels of integration that you're striving for. So the more self-aware you become, the more you follow your roadmap of personal development through this tool, the higher integration you can reach. They call it low and higher integration. I don't love that language because it implies that low is less than. When in reality, I think even in our lower seasons, quote unquote, there's plenty to learn and plenty to heal. As I love that you talked about the 2 to the 4, because that is actually the growth line. So the 2's growth line, so as they're striving for a higher integration, they need to go through their 4, through the 4, which is that more self-aware of your own needs, right? Which is very difficult for a 2 to honor that they even have needs. Nonetheless, take the time.
We don't have needs. My needs are your needs. I don't need any.
Exactly, very 2-coded, and it's taking that time of that introspective of like, okay, it's okay that I have needs. It's not selfish to have needs. I'm allowed to have them, and then to be bold to share them. Whereas on a quote unquote lower integration, the 2 moves into the stress line of the 8, which is a little bit. That's usually when the 2 has been taken advantage of. They've been used too much. They've given and they given and they given without appreciation, and they've reached that point of like, I can't give anymore. I'm cutting you off, like I'm done. It takes a lot for a 2 to get there, but if they get there, it can feel very, very daunting to those people on the other side, because they're used to the selfless 2. And when the 2 finally says enough is enough, everyone's like, what just happened?
Oh my God, you are literally talking about me. Like, I'm like, stop, get out of my life. You're reading it. How do you balance your own busy life with self-awareness practices that you teach?
Well, luckily my life is self-awareness, so that helps. I have to.
Yeah.
If I'm not
One would hope, right?
If I'm not growing, if I'm not evolving, I'm failing not only myself, but the people I serve. So that helps it make a priority. But I have gotten seasons where I've overbooked myself, and I've gone to the point where I've stretched myself too thin, and I don't like the way I show up in those areas. So for me, we all have ego, and for me, it's not shaming my ego, but tapping into it and be like, I really like showing up as the best version of myself and showing up that way for me and for others. So how do I prioritize that? And because it's tied to my ego and my core motivation of wanting to show up as the best version of me, which is very 3-coded, it helps by channeling ego to what motivates you. It can help you prioritize what's most important, like self-care, self-awareness, personal development.
What do you do for yourself for self-care?
I read a lot. I also, I recently I've been really working on letting my hair down. I know that sounds silly, but as a three, I very much have those achievers. I can fall into the perfectionist nightmare that does not exist, of this concept of perfection. And so I've really worked on doing the weird thing, really pushing myself. I recently, for a new project I launched this summer, my digital magazine, I am doing a lot of content creation, and I've really pushed myself in that area to do the pretty but weird thing. I'm in rollerblades and a tutu in some of this content. I'm standing on a table and slamming plates. Like, I'm just doing the weird thing, and it's so uncomfortable for me because I'm used to doing, like, presenting this image. Twos and threes and fours are very aware of their reputation and the image they present, and I'm kind of letting it go and being like, well, what's the weird thing? Before we hopped on, I was about to jump in a river, and be like, run off a dock and jump into the river, and I was like, I'm not going to do that to Christina by showing up to her podcast interview soaking wet and a river rat. So for you, I didn't. But stay tuned. I
Thank you.
think that video is coming.
It might be happening later tonight.
If it wasn't so dark, it would happen tonight, but I might wake up early in the morning. So stay tuned for that.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So I've had this happen to me, that I used to get this uncomfortable feeling, like anxious about something that I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I really had to learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It was really, really hard for me. But then I found out that once I did get comfortable being uncomfortable, amazing opportunities are out there. And I think that is one of the things that I've learned in the last 5 years about getting to this uncomfortable place and knowing that, oh my God, something fantastic is going to happen from this awful feeling I'm having. So that awful feeling now isn't so awful. Now I know it's like, oh, something great's going to be. Do you agree with that?
110%. I think one of the biggest traps is believing there's such thing as a comfort zone. I don't believe that's actually very comfortable. I think it needs a new name, when everyone's like, oh, I'm just in my comfort zone. I'm afraid to get out of my comfort zone. I'm like, are you really comfortable though? Or are you like, I think we all, when we're in that zone, we have this like clawing feeling at us that's like, no, you're meant for more. And it's on the other side of being uncomfortable. And it's usually our growth, and what we most need is on the other side of the thing we're most uncomfortable to do. And so for me, it's being weird. Like, I hide my weirdness. I'm very, like, my friends who are close to me is like, wow, like I had a really good friend of mine recently tell me, he goes, wow, you're really pretty, but really weird. And I wasn't expecting that. And I was like, oh yeah, like I am. And
Thank you.
yes, it's that authenticity of when I started showing people more that I'm a little quirky and I'm a little weird and I like to be dorky, that I started to really form those genuine connections, which is what I've been desiring all along. And so it's like, wow, what I desired was on the other side of the uncomfortable thing, which is AKA just being authentic.
So let's talk a little bit about your magazine. How did that come about? Did you always want to have a magazine, or
No.
I mean, that's a big project, girl.
Yeah, I love it. I can't believe it's happening. I was recently asked what my dream job is, and I was like, I'm doing it. And it's with Styled, which is my digital magazine. It's Styled with 2 S's, so SS, Styled. And it's a spinoff, of course, fashion and beauty, but also lifestyle and being really intentional and living life on purpose. I for a lot of years, I tried to like compartmentalize myself. Like, I'd be like, okay, this is my model world. I was Mrs. Tennessee. And so I was like, oh, this is my pageant world. Then here's my speaking world when I'm on stages. Here's my coaching world. Here's my business consulting world. And they're very, very separate. And I was like, in order for me to be respected professionally, I have to keep them over here. And in order to be seen and be recognized for my modeling career and my pageant, like I have to keep them separate from my business career. And then I realized that by fragmenting my life, I was actually fragmenting myself, and no one felt like they were getting the full version of me, because they weren't, because I was only giving them pieces. And so because of that, I wasn't showing up whole. And so actually in January, I started I was on a plane. I'll never forget it. I was first class with my mom, and we were going to Las Vegas, and I was so uncomfortable. And she's like, "You cannot be this uncomfortable in first class on such a short flight. Like, what is your deal?" And I was like, "I'm itchy. Like, there's something wrong. Like, I'm craving something more for my life." And so I said a prayer in that moment. I was like, "All right, God, show me how good this life can be." And all of a sudden, the vision for Styled came in. I had the LLC form, the logo design, the website being built, all before we landed in Vegas. And she's like, "Who are you?" But even in that moment when I landed, I was like, "Okay, I'm going to marinate on this and see what happens." And as the months progressed, more and more of these pieces came together. And that's just it. It was the pieces of me coming together. So in Styled, yes, we talk about, I have a section called Confessions of a Beauty Queen, which are all my like random beauty secrets that help me show up on set and on stage as my felt like my prettiest self. But then there's also like a featured article that talks about the growth. I think last month was the art of detachment and how important that is. This upcoming issue is talking about the owning your magic and how that's different for each of us. And I think, and then there's a life on purpose where we have affirmations and books to read. Like every section is so intentional in showing up as your full self with the heart of living your life on purpose, styling your life, and falling in love with it, falling in love with every moment. So you start to love yourself
love
more.
this.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
me.
this. I think it's so great that you figured out what you love and you're figuring out how to monetize this. And it's making you better in all aspects of your life, just doing this thing that's so different and tweaking all your pieces of you, all your numbers of all the different things, and you bringing them all together. I just think it's fantastic. So do you have people contribute writing for you, or do you have different people in the magazine, or is it
Yeah.
just everything about what is it stuff that you write about and think?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. I love it. It's definitely an evolution. It's continuing growing. So we're about to release our 4th issue, which is crazy, which is amazing. So each issue has a different theme. So our first issue was very minimalistic. It was about fresh beginnings. Our second issue was very bright colors, and I was in roller skates, hence the roller skating in a tutu video. The last one was very fall and talking about transitioning. This last one got a little spooky, and intentionally I'm going to contribute to Halloween in October. It didn't mean for it to get a little Salem-y, but we're going to go with it. But yeah, I think I do have other people. I have a featured stylist section where I get to honor women not only on their style, like on the way that they show up in the world physically, but also emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, and they get to share their biggest life lessons. So it's a deep dive into them. I share clients that I've styled in the past and how I'm honoring their personal brand rather than what's trendy. But my vision for it is that it constantly evolves. I was on the plane on the way back from LA, ironically, and I was like, I would love to have more contributors and more writers, and as it evolves and grows. But I'm honestly just having a lot of patience and grace and love and letting it evolve naturally, opposed to my true 3 fashion, which is like, how do I make it all be where it needs to be right now? And I'm really embracing the journey, which is so difficult for me, but I'm enjoying it.
I think I say this often because I speak on other podcasts to entrepreneurs. And I always think that if you figure out what you love doing so much that you would do it for free and then figure out how to get paid and enjoy the process, you will succeed. It might take a minute. It will take a minute. But if you are just going in it to make money, I think people don't realize how much time, effort, everything takes. And if you don't enjoy the process, you're going to resent it. And that's when failure sets in. We are going to be right back with Sloan Reid, and we are going to talk more about all these fascinating things that she has to tell us.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com. plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, Hope, and Support for Caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Hi, welcome back to I'm Too Busy. I'm Christina Flach, and we are speaking with Miss Sloan. Sloan, where's your happy place?
Oh, anywhere with my son. He is my happy place. I would say it changes. Usually, I always joke that it's on a plane. If I'm like, there's something. If I was saying with you earlier, I was on my way to LA, and I was in the terminal, and I was just like, oh, there's just something really like freeing about being in an airplane terminal and just people watching. So I love
Totally
that.
agree.
If my son is with me on the way to those adventures, even better. But yeah, I think my happy place is a lot of places that I can be fully present and engaged and blessed and grateful.
What did your 16-year-old self think that you were going to do with your life?
Oh, bless her. So I skipped 8th grade, and so I was 16 and a freshman. And 16 my senior year. So my entire senior
Oh
year of
my
high school,
gosh.
I was a baby. I didn't turn 17 until April, graduated in May, and started my freshman year at 17 at Texas A&M, 8 hours away from home. So 16-year-old me was really living her best life as a senior in high school. They like really checked out of high school and had major graduation goggles. Yeah, and I think she had big dreams of traveling the world, really being, again, the lawyer was probably forefront, bless her sweet soul. Nothing against lawyers. It's just, if you've met me for a hot second, you realize that that's not my MO. But yeah, I think that she just really, really wanted to make an impact and travel and experience. But I think one thing that's consistent between 16-year-old me and the current me is just an appreciation and fascination and love for people. I really love seeing people and loving them for who they are and who they want to be. And it's reflecting back, it's really a sweet moment to realize that I even had that then.
I love that. What do you do when your day's just not flowing? What do? You just keep trudging
Call my
along, or what
mom.
do you do?
Call my mom, even at 35. I'm still going to call my mom. No, I think it's because it's good just to reset. I think it's that snap moment of not letting a bad 5 minutes ruin your whole day. And also tuning in to what my body needs and what is the trigger. And that's why self-awareness is so important and personal development is so important, because for a while I would allow that bad moment to ruin my whole day because I didn't recognize the trigger. And so when I'm able to say, oh, where was I triggered, or how am I feeling, and have that self-awareness, I'm able to adjust in a very self-loving and careful way. So opposed to like, oh my God, I'm like, everyone's driving me nuts and making me want to like rip my hair out. It's like, oh, did you eat today? Like, are you hangry, love? Like, let's eat. Or if it's like, oh my God, everybody just hates me today and I can't do anything right. It's like, okay, do we need a nap? Like, and just being able to just recognize what's those triggers and be able to care for myself in a really, really intentional way has been absolutely vital, to be making sure that I don't have bad days and I have frustrating moments.
What are you loving? What's your favorite workout right now?
Ooh, walking. Hot girl walks. I am a big advocate for a hot girl walk. I was having, speaking of challenging day, like I was just having those days. I was on my way to the airport. Nothing was going right. I was super frustrated. Like the outfit I wanted to do wasn't dry yet. It was just like, of course, because I packed at the last minute, like everything was just super frustrating. And I was like, I'm going to go for a walk just to reset so I don't ruin my whole trip. And a Lizzo song came on and I danced it out and had so much fun. And then like came back and was ready to take on LA.
That's perfect. I do the same thing. Just like sometimes you just need to shut it down and go do something else. What
Mm-hmm.
about your diet? Are you eating, what kind of a diet do you follow right now?
I need to be better. I'm going to be full transparent. My diet is something, and self-care is something. Speaking of the Enneagram and instincts, there's the self-preservation, the sexual or one-on-one, and the social instinct. I'm very social and very one-on-one. Those are natural for me. The area that I have to be really intentional at my blind spot is self-preservation. I forget
Mhm.
to drink water all the time. I forget to eat consistently and doing those things. And it does take a huge impact on how I show up in the world and how I want to show up in the world. So I have alarms on my phone. My assistant knows to reach out to remind me to drink water. So if I'm being honest, my diet consists on caffeine and a dream, but I don't recommend that. It causes more anxiety than it's worth, and I highly encourage it. So I'm prioritizing water, green tea, and of course a high protein diet.
Very good. Are you reading anything that you love right now?
A few things. I feel like my ADHD is in full force lately, but the book I'm reading and the title. I could show you I see the cover in my head. It is, but I can pull you up the name right now. It is my lovely "Don't Believe Everything You Think" is the book that I'm
Ah,
focused
what
on
a
right.
great title.
Yeah, and it's really powerful about honoring the difference between what thinking and thoughts, and how we just don't have to believe everything we think and drive that, because that'll drive our thoughts and drive our reality. And so honoring that thinking is different than the thoughts that leads to our belief system. And according to my audiobook, I have about an hour left, but it has been really, really impactful and healing to me thus far.
You just need one more, hot girl walk and the book will be
I'll knock
done.
it out. Exactly. I got the
Yeah,
first half done on the last one. So,
there you go. What's your favorite quote?
oh, so many. There's so many rolling in my mind right now. I think the one that's always on the back of my mind is "A candle only gains by lighting another candle." And I think it's a really gentle reminder that you can be the light in someone else's life, and you don't lose anything by it. You only gain, because you guys get to shine brighter together.
I love that. Sloan, this has been so fascinating. I could talk to you all day long. I thank you so much. We're going to have all your information in the show notes. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. And I congratulations on all your accomplishments. I'm so in awe of you, your magazine and your coaching. It's really remarkable. So I know you're too busy. So what are you going to try and do to be less busy with your time?
I love that. Less busy. You hit the nail on the head. It's earlier when you talked about doing the things you love and then you learning to monetize those. I think it's doing more of the things that give me joy. And because I don't believe in busy. Like speaking of quotes, it was like we're stressed out because we're doing too much of the things we don't love. And so
Oh,
I
that's true.
think, yeah, so I think for me, it's about doing more of the things that I love, spending time with my son, jumping off a dock into a river, video to be coming soon, working on styled and connecting with phenomenal women like yourself. There's something about these interactions that like fill me up, and prioritizing those makes you feel less busy and less stressed and more fulfilled.
Where do you see your life in 5 to 10 years? Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing?
Styled. I definitely want to be styled. I want to be coaching. I want to be speaking. So a lot of what I'm doing, just at a greater scale. I want to be serving more people, more women, helping them honor who they are at their core, outside of trends and what's popular, but really honoring their personal brand by embracing their ideal self, not only mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and of course physically, and really putting together intentionally a lifestyle that they are intentional about. And so I hope hope to be reaching more people. I hope to be a lot wiser. I hope that 40-year-old me is looking at me now going, bless her heart. She had so much to learn, but I'm so thankful for where she was and her heart to get me to hopefully where I'm going.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. I wish you nothing but success. I know I can't wait to watch all the things that you're doing because I know they're going to be extraordinary, and you are extraordinary. And I'm so grateful that I got to chat with you today. So thank you so much.
Well, the
I'm
honor has
Christina
been all
Flach.
mine. I'm so thankful for you,
Oh,
thankful for your time, thankful for your
oh,
and just giving me a
thank
space to
you.
share what I'm passionate about is really special. And I really appreciate you for holding it.
We'll definitely have you back. Thank you for being on today. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy, and I will see you next Wednesday.
This has been I'm Too Busy with host Christina Flach. Tune in each week as Christina approaches the concept of success holistically, recognizing that achievement is not solely measured by financial triumphs, but also by maintaining a healthy work-life balance and focusing on self-care. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.